Yo, Nandra here. Welcome to another video. So this video was going to be an Ask Nandra question. However, it's pretty long and it's pretty detailed. So this is going to be a video about like, what do I do with my turn checklist? So this question was submitted to me by roomnoxii. So shout out to him as always. Just keeping the flow going. Just giving me these questions each and every week. They're always interesting for me to answer. So his question was, whenever I play Shadowverse, I have a simple checklist for every turn. 1. Do I have lethal? 2. Does the opponent have lethal? 3. What is my best play? Please describe a checklist that can and should be used for players of all ranks in Shadowverse. So my version, as you can see, is much longer, but that's probably because I had like a good hour to go ahead and just think about well, what do I personally think about when I make my turn. So, provided I haven't brain farted, which you'll see in a video, but not this video. This is my version. So first, pause for 30 seconds. The reason why you pause is because you don't want to miss anything. Additionally, you don't want to make any snap plays and then after you make the play, oh shit, well, I shouldn't have made this play, I should have done something else. Because that's really important, because sometimes for some of the decks that are played in Shadowverse, they don't forgive mistakes. Both mistakes made by you and mistakes made by your opponent. So you want to make as few mistakes as possible, and the best way to do that is just slow down, refrain from touching anything on your screen. I cannot stress this enough. So 2, the next thing you want to do is you want to ask yourself, can I die next turn? And like I say, this is where knowing all the cards comes in handy. Specifically, knowing all the cards in meta decks. Say for example, you're at 5 HP. Well, if you're at 5 HP versus neutral rune, okay, I can always die to Gilgamesh. I need to be wary of that. So I need to either heal or ward, preferably do both. And then 2A, if yes, how can I stay alive? Again, this could be warding, this could be trading, this could be accepting that maybe my opponent has lethal, so I need to try to present counter lethal at the same time when I go ahead and I make my play. 3. Do I have lethal, or can I set up lethal? You want to try to plan 3 turns ahead when you get it at following the checklist, as well as just playing the game. However, generally you want to always try to be looking to set up 2-turn lethal. Be that by just oh hey, well, I have 5 damage on board and I have 5 damage in hand. That's 2-turn lethal. Or oh hey, well, I'm gonna chunk you down this turn and I can just finish up the rest with the burn I have in my hand next turn. Generally, you're gonna want to try to do that. However, for me personally, when I play, I usually try to set up 3-turn lethal. By trying to set up 3-turn lethal, this is 1 turn. Alright, so this is 1 turn I go in with my first wave. I'm gonna assume that they have an answer to it. Second turn I go in with another wave to go ahead and get more chip damage in. I'm gonna assume that they have another answer, and then with the third wave, that's gonna be the wave that kills them. Usually from some sort of finisher. So an example of this is when I play Saha Dragon, and I go ahead and I just Saha, grab my Zeus, hit him in the face with Zeus. Then next turn I'll go ahead and say Aura Ping, ping them in the face. So that's 8 damage, and then on 10 mana I'll go ahead and go Saha's. I'll just go ahead and go Zeus, and I'll evo the Zeus and hit him in the face for 7 more damage for a total of 15 damage across 3 turns. 3A, what's the best way to set up lethal? It can be innocuous or it can be direct. Again, an example of a direct lethal is, oh hey, I have 15 damage on board. You deal with it this turn or you die. And an example of an innocuous one is the, oh hey, I have a polyphonic roar in play. That's only 5 damage, but I also have double Erd in my hand, so I can do 15 damage to you. 3B, if I can't set up lethal, what is my best line or lines that put me on the track to winning. It can be setting up feature pluses from bait too juicy to resist, such as leading them to play into a board clear spell. Like, alright, so a good example for this is when you, well, for the majority of these, I'm going to be using Dragon just because Dragon does have, just because Dragon is the class I play most, and also it will probably be easier for me to explain. But an example of this is when I'm like willing to eat like 5 damage on one turn in order to be able to set up a Breath of the Salamander sweep to go ahead and get a plus in order to get a +4 from that and win games that way. Or it can be things like, say, setting up a. It can be things such as like setting up a good Goblin Breaker Tina turn, or you know, just in general a good swing card turn, like say for example going Priest of the Cudgel. Just because generally those cards are gonna be what allows you to stay in the game. Additionally, it's gonna be what lets you start winning, or even if you aren't winning, it's just gonna be like what brings you closer to parity. And as I say here, like sometimes the easiest way to win a game is to let your opponent play themselves, and that's 100% true, because sometimes people, or actually I lied, a lot of times people don't respect obvious things. They like straight just telegraphing, okay, I have this is what I want to do. A good example for this is when I go ahead and on my 5-mana turn, I go ahead and I ping something down into Breath of the Salamander range. A lot of times people just be like, oh, he doesn't have Breath of the Salamander. No way. No way. And they'll just get it and they'll just drop my board. They'll just go ahead and they'll just drop their hand into my board. I Breath of the Salamander. They hit concede. I collect points. Or additionally, to let your opponent just like underestimate, okay, well, he can't possibly kill me from this amount. That's no way. And then you just you know, you do, because you have like a lot of burst damage in your hand that your opponent wasn't accounting for. Again, this is where the 30-second pause comes in, because you want to scan everything like you got a shotgun gun and you got to remain cool as a cucumber. Well, I spelled that incorrectly. Let me go fix that. There we go. Okay. 4. What is my opponent most likely to play? Or what is the biggest punishment I like to play? So, for example, if you, alright, so say you're versus Haven. If you put one creature into play, and the creature's like relatively big enough, say it's like a 5/5 like Phantom Cat or something like that. Well, then the biggest possible punishments for your opponent to have would be Tribunal or say Themis. But not all the time is this going to be like super straightforward. I mean, for the most part, you should try to make sure that it is. But sometimes there are going to be things that they just like not going to account for, such as like say weird tech choices. However, for the most part, you do want to try to like have an understanding of what the most popular cards is. What the most popular cards are for each and every class. Say for example, if I'm playing versus Dragon, I know that I'm going to need to play around Israfil. I'm going to need to play around Bahamut. I'm going to need to play around Sahagwheel, Zeus, Genesis. If I'm playing versus Blood, I know I need to play around Revelation. I know I need to play around Baphomet Pulls. I know I need to play around Scarlet Brewer, Temptress Vampire, so on and so forth. And yeah, like, and here are gonna be like a few things that you should do. Again, like the first one, like I said, make a habit of keeping track of key cards used. By used, I mean both used as in not only are they played, but also have any of these cards been played in this game. Like say for example, you're versus Haven, and you want to know if you can use if you can flip the board. Well, if they haven't used any Themises yet, you probably should hold off on doing that. Conversely, if they've used like 1 or 2 Themises, especially if these are just very recently, then you can go ahead and you can more consider, okay, maybe I should just do this, because it's very unlikely that he'll draw the additional copy of this exact card he needs to punish me that soon. Like if he has it, then that's gonna suck. However, you can kind of get a feel for whether or not they have it just by how they've been playing up until that point. So it's very, very important to like review like the last like two or three turns. Count the number of cards that they have in hand. I cannot trust this enough, because generally when people have a lot of cards in hand, then what they've been doing the last 2 or 3 turns, it becomes a lot more relevant. Like, say for example, if you know your opponent has been holding on to like the same like 3 cards at the start of the game, and they haven't played it at all, they have to go ahead and start like going through a process of elimination. You have to try to figure out, okay, what card is that most likely to be based off what I myself have not been doing. Now again, using Haven as an example, if you haven't made a board yet, then you can most likely assume that one of those cards is going to be a Themis. Or if you know what type of deck they are, like say for example, if you know it's like say Seraph Haven, and they've been holding cards in hand, then you know that, okay, well that a lot of those cards are going to be like accelerants, and so at that point I just need to be like wary of how many Themises he's played, or if your verse is like Shadow and they've passed like a bunch of turns, or they've passed like a bunch of turns in a row, you need to evaluate, okay, well, has he played anything that would signify to me that he's going to be Nethys Shadow? Has he played anything that would signify to me that he's going to be Dark Alice Shadow? If not, I can assume that he's Midrange Shadow. If he's Midrange Shadow, okay, well, this makes this easier. Like, most likely one of those cards in the stand is going to be Ektar, but additionally, what else haven't I been playing into? Like, for example, they're going to hold Necro Assassin a lot of the times, and if you haven't made anything that's like super threatening as like a standalone minion, they're not going to Necro Assassin you, so you can know that, okay, well, this is Necro Assassin, this is what I need to play around, or rather, this is what I need to falsely play into to get my opponent to use this prematurely. Just because for every bait, there's also a counter bait, in which you in which you can set something up, and which you can like freely just like, you know, give away something for free. Generally, what you give away for free, you want that to be in order of escalating threat. Like, so for example, you don't want to just like throw away an Israfil when you can like throw away a Sybil, just because like Israfil is more likely to win you that game. Conversely, you don't want to like throw away a Bahamut when you can just easily give them a Sybil and just make them get rid of it, and just make them use their removal on that. Additionally, ask yourself, have I already given my opponent a chance to play X card? If yes, think a bit more. But was it at a time when he had no other choice? Again, this is gonna go into what I just said earlier. But an example is some Haven players like myself will hold Themis on 6 to make you walk into an even more devastating one on 7, or just, you know, holding major board clears to sweep as much as possible. Just because a lot of times we condition ourselves that, okay, well, if we don't see this card by the time they can like cast it on curve, that means he doesn't have it. That's not always true. Like, just because sometimes you'll just because sometimes, you know, maybe the situation wasn't right for it. Like, maybe I didn't care about the fact that he had like 4 power on board. Maybe I wanted you to have 8 power on board before I did it, or things like that. And then for this next one, play into the realm of possibility. Generally, try to anticipate exactly 1 to 2 card outs instead of like 3+ card outs, because it's very, very unlikely that unless your opponent just never felt the need to play cards, in which case there's a bigger problem with that game, that most likely it's gonna be like a 1 to 2 card out that saves them. So example of this is card pairings that generally you need your opponent to have at the same time. Like, say for example, Saha plus Israfil. Naturally, if they have the Saha, but they have no Saha-able target, that's going to be a dead card. You don't need to play around that. Or if it's something like, say, Necro Assassin plus Necro Assassinable target. Again, if they're in like top deck mode or something like that, you don't need to play around that. Like, let's see what else. There's of course the natural Themis and Bahamut, just because like those can be like those are like the major AoEs. Yeah, an example of an unreasonable line they shouldn't take when you're trying to figure out, okay, well, what does my opponent have in hand? Assuming that they have like 3 D shifts in hand. No, like, I know D shift is frustrating for people to play against, but you can't make assumptions like that. That's not a good assumption. Like, it's more likely that they have only 1 or at best 2, not all 3. And then 5, understanding when you need to all in. Versus some decks, you will not get the luxury of being able to sit on your thumbs. You'll need to take aggressive, I win here or I lose gambits. All decks have this predicament at some point as you play. However, realizing when you're at that turning point is huge, because generally, if you aren't there yet, you should avoid playing into it. What I mean by that is say understanding when you're gonna lose if they have themis or if they don't have themis, or if where if you're gonna lose if they have themis, but you're already gonna lose if you played around it. So an example of this is versus Haven. Versus Haven, whenever I play versus Haven or Dragon, I always play as aggressively as possible, because I know that, like, if I take my Jolly Sweet time, they're gonna play Aegis. I'm not gonna have an answer. I'm probably gonna die if I can't, like, OTK them. But a lot of times in my list that I see me play, I'm usually not playing the OTK. I'm usually playing other stuff. And it's just like things like that. However, like, if I'm in a spot where, you know, I don't need to do that, then I should go ahead and play accordingly. You want to try to, when possible, match the escalation to what your opponent's doing, or just, you know, where they are on the turn timer. Like, versus decks that have win cons that are very, very difficult to beat, such as, like, say Nethys or say Aegis or say Seraph, you want to try to be wary of where you are on that turn timer. For Nethys, you want to try to start going in by, like, say turn 4 to turn 6. However, on the turn 6, you need to make a checklist for, okay, well, how am I going to deal with this Cowie? Or if I can't deal with the Cowie, how do I deal with it in such a way that I don't just lose the game on the spot? But ultimately, if you can't do that, you have to be thinking, okay, well, I need to just play into this and just you know, hope that they don't have it, because, you know, sometimes they don't have it. Like as strange as that is to sound, like, sometimes they don't have it, but we're not always going to remember that, just because we don't remember the times where, you know, where we had that good fortune where, like, our opponent just, you know, didn't have the triple shift, or just, you know, didn't have the Nethys on 8 or something like that. But you still need to do it, just because if you hesitation leads to death. Like, and if you hesitate, then you give your opponent more chances to draw those cards, the same cards that are going to kill you either way. Like, and then you still find yourself back in the same spot. However, now it's worse, because you've not only wasted time by not doing this, but now you're gonna lose, and now you're gonna feel twice as salty. Whereas if you just kind of, you know, made the compromise of, okay, well, or sorry, not compromise, but just, like, acceptance of, okay, well, I'm gonna go in this turn. If they have it, I just go and click X. If they don't, I go ahead and just, you know, collect my points. But yeah, a lot of these come with practice and understanding of the game. It's important. Yeah, it's why it's important, at least if you're like me, to ignore the game for the game when you play it, and instead look at it as a study session. And I know obviously, like, not everyone is going to feel the same way. However, for me, like, when I look at it, when I play the game, whatever, like, at least now, ever since I started making videos or whatever, I don't just look at it as just, you know, a game for points. Unless, of course, you know, I'm trying to climb the Grandmasters. I'm just kind of like, you know, well, you know, screw the world, I want these points. But unless I'm doing something like that, I usually try to look at each game to see if I can find, like, something interesting about that game. Like, this is actually part of how I'm able to come up with so many, like, interesting games for you guys when I do like make a gameplay video. Like, tomorrow I'll be having a video on, I'll be, like, detailing why you can lose off a single mistake, or why you can win off a single mistake. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I do know that this is probably about, like, maybe 30-35 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not sure, because I did not I did not do that many dry runs with this video. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like, go and hit that subscribe button if you haven't. and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.